Hey folks, as some of you are aware, the 10th of June 2024 marks the second anniversary of the first 3 videos on this channel, and by extension, I guess the Embur channel in its current form as a whole. I wasn't entirely sure how to celebrate at first, or if I should even celebrate it at all, really, but I decided something fun to do would be a bit of a retrospective on the Leeds video, which is the oldest and still longest running documentary video on the channel. Something I also mentioned, however, was a Q&A. I'm sure I'm kinda jumping the gun a bit, trying to do a Q&A with a subscriber count small enough to fill a local church, but it seemed like a fun idea nonetheless, and enough of you all provided enough questions to work with it for a little while. It's going to be mostly unscripted and also slightly rough, because I came down with a pretty nasty cold yesterday. What fun. Anyhow, let's take a look. What inspired you to start doing YouTube, and have you made any attempts before? Well, as I'm sure you can see, this channel is a lot older than the 10th of June 2022. I started making those alternate future of Europe kind of videos back in 2015? I stopped making these videos in around 2018. If you have a link to, I think, some of them, then you might still be able to watch them, because I think some of them are unlisted. But other than that, they're sort of gone now. I did, at the time, in some of my later ones, towards the end, I did put little, almost Countryballs animations, similar to what I do now, which, in hindsight, feels like a sign of things to come for me. That was a clear sign that I wanted to make this kind of content at the time, but didn't really know how to. As for what inspired me to start doing the channel when I did, I don't really know, honestly. I just kind of thought the time was right. I had been writing this Leeds script for probably about half a year, and I put it down for a little while as I was focusing on my university work, but I guess just the time was right. Why did you choose Countryballs as part of your channel's art style? As I'm sure it's a surprise to absolutely none of you out there, my favourite YouTuber of all time has always been, well, I say always, for as long as I've known about them, Brain for Breakfast. As I'm sure is a surprise to absolutely none of you. Brain for Breakfast is the key inspiration for this channel, and I don't really watch many other Countryballs YouTubers these days. I sort of stopped when I swore off politics a few years ago, and I didn't want to just get sucked back in because it kept making me miserable. And that's why I talk about history for the most part rather than anything else. But you can see that in my older content where I did incorporate a lot of these kind of Countryballs animation segments into them. I've always just been a fan of the whole kind of drawn a bit choppily art style that the Countryballs have, where there's a lot of wiggle room for it looking a little bit amateur, and I think that there's this sweet spot where it looks professional enough but still adhering to the rules, where it can look amazing. It can look absolutely amazing. I think the peak of that would be the Entente Cordiale comic that some of you might have seen if you're familiar with the Paul and Bull comics, but I think when you get it just right, it can look absolutely amazing. I like to think that I get it, kind of close to that sweet spot. Maybe you think I don't, maybe you think I do. I know I get a lot of people out there who say, oh, this reminds me a lot of Brain for Breakfast. I think someone straight up said I'm the second coming of Brain for Breakfast. I don't remember if this was on a YouTube or on the TikTok, but I think that's probably the nicest thing anyone said about the channel. But I just really liked Brain for Breakfast. What is your process for creating a video from beginning to end? Pretty much every video on this channel begins life as just a single sentence or an idea on a text document that I have saved on my desktop. Usually these ideas come from me Wikipedia surfing or just kind of idly soaking up knowledge on the internet, and each idea usually sits there for a few months. There are some ideas that have been sat there since before I finished the Leeds video from the beginning of this channel that still haven't been made. For example, the Cornwall videos, that was originally only supposed to be one video. That had been sat on the document since the beginning of the channel, and it took me until the end of last year to actually get around to making them. Ideas will sit there on that document for a little while I just sort of, work on other things, and occasionally soak up a little bit of knowledge on that thing over time. But when the time comes that I decide I want to work on that thing, That's when I sit down and do some proper research. Most of my sources come from the internet. Sometimes, you know, when I'm really passionate or I've just got time, I'll pop down to the library in Leeds, the big one, the huge big one, and I'll sit there for a couple of hours and I'll read some stuff there. Which is what I've been doing for the Norway video, actually. After that, usually, I'll start doing the scripting, and then research will continue as I'm doing the scripting for a while. That's when I start the bulk of making this video, which is the animation. You know, drawing all of the frames, doing all of that. And after the animation is done, that's when I start doing the recording generally. And then after that, I make the thumbnail and do all of the YouTube things, and then publish. And that is where a video ends. Usually that's where the video sits from then on, and it's done. And you all lovely people can all go and watch it, and give me 1 billion squillion subscribers from it. Are there any particular subjects you wanted to discuss upon in a video, but decided against so? Actually, yes, but there's only one. And it was a video on how much land does the royal family directly own? It was inspired by... There's a shopping retail park in Leeds called Crown Point. And I found out a couple summers ago that that retail park is directly owned by the royal family. And I thought, that's cool, that's neat. Why do they own a retail park in Leeds? And so I started doing research on that, and I had not a full script, but I definitely had an introduction. I had probably one of my favourite introductions I've ever made for the channel. A very tongue-in-cheek, although kind of almost anti-monarchy in a way, because admittedly I am not a monarchist. I do not like the monarchy one bit. I think I'm not going to go to it, no. I wrote it to be very sort of not the most favourable towards Queen Elizabeth, who was the monarch at the time. Of course, I was writing this script in early mid-September, which that was when Queen Elizabeth II died. And so I figured that would be, you know, to release a sort of kind of anti-monarchy, not a fully video, but a very anti-monarchy intro to a video, would be in horrible taste. I don't like the monarchy, but I'm not gonna dance on their grave publicly. That's horrible. That would be a horrible thing of me to do as a person. You can do what you want personally, but I couldn't do that in good faith. And so that video has just sort of been under hiatus. That's been put on the back burner sort of until I decide to go back to it again. It's a video I'd love to make. It just requires a lot of nitty-gritty research into a lot of things that I don't fully understand. I had a lot of good jokes, a lot of good bits, a lot of good ideas for that video. One day I will get back to it, but, you know, until then, you'll just have to sit and pretend. What do you hope that people take away from your videos? Well, without sounding condescending, the takeaway that I want people to get from these videos is just be nice to the people around you. Be nice to the people around you, and don't let your opinions and inhibitions get in the way of being a good person. Because I know a lot of people that watch these kind of videos, a lot of people that like history and politics and, you know, some of the other stuff that I talk about, usually have a lot of strong political and other such opinions that oftentimes can let them get in the way of being the best, the nicest, the most functioning, sociable human being that they can be. And I want people to know that you can be the best person you can be. You don't have to do much other than just be nice to everyone. And most importantly, don't let anyone try to lead you astray from that. Don't let anyone, don't let these political gurus, don't let these, miscreants on the internet, tell you what you can and cannot be because of some preconceived notions about opinions and identities and anything. Like I say, stay vigilant out there. Do your best to always be a nice person regardless of what you think. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. What really caught your interest in Occitania, and what drove you to make a video on that subject? Honestly, I couldn't tell you really. I've always just kind of been a little bit fascinated by the region and the language, and it's sort of the power dynamic that it's had with Paris. The sort of weird imbalance to it. I suppose it's similar in a few ways to the north-south dynamic in England between the northern counties and with London. And so I've always just kind of been mildly fascinated from afar about the whole situation with Occitania. And of course I learned a lot of things from making that video, and a lot of you that commented about a lot of the inaccuracies from the Occitania video, and I greatly appreciate that. and it's something that I would love to learn a lot more about in the future. So, shoutouts to all of you from southern France, hell yeah. Can you give any previews or teasers on upcoming projects? Here we have it, That's him. Major General Nils Olav III.
Baron of the Bouvet Islands.
Baron of the Bouvet Islands. Where are the Bouvet Islands?
Down towards Antarctica.
Here we have Nils himself.
Yeah, that's...
leading his men into battle. So this next bit, I'm going to be covering 2 questions. This doesn't have to do with much of the content you make nowadays, but I still do want to ask you about the context behind the Moomin post, and what that's all supposed to be about. And what do you think about You'll Soon Find Out still being your best performing video? Some of you really want to know about You'll Soon Find Out, and yeah, I don't blame you. So You'll Soon Find Out is an edited clip from an episode of the 90s anime Moomin based on the Tove Jansson comics from Finland. My friend Tom and me and him used to do a lot of Moomin shit posting around when You'll Soon Find Out was posted, and so I uploaded it just so we could have easy access to it on like a Discord. Over the years, it somehow got kind of popular from playlists, more than I could have ever expected, really. When I wiped all of my Nothing Burger content to start fresh on the channel, I kept You'll Soon Find Out up, originally because it was doing weirdly well and I wanted it for the views numbers, but also, over the years, I've just kind of found it funny that, my most successful video on this channel, is a 7-second video of acclaimed Finnish comic book character Snufkin saying, "You'll soon find out," and then making some of the best content I've ever made, afterwards. As though that's a sign of things to come, followed by the snapping of a stick. As for still being my best performing video, I think that's really funny. But my goal is to one day surpass it. So, hey, maybe you'd like to help me in that mission, in maybe making one of these videos, or video I make in the future, surpass You'll Soon Find Out. I will tell you right now, there will be a big celebration once I finally surpass You'll Soon Find Out. But I can't promise anything as to whether or not that'll happen, so I suppose, you'll soon find out. Favourite EU4 tag? You can include extended timeline if you like. I personally can't stand how the new map moves Mount Fuji to an inaccurate location. God, EU4? You guys want to know about EU4? Embur Universalis is a game I've played a lot and I reference a lot in these videos. But, God, favourite tag? Extended timeline, Dara, the Celtic-ish Anglo-Saxon kingdom that was just Yorkshire. Typical, I'm talking about Yorkshire again, me. But, I did an amazing multiplayer game with a friend of mine years ago with them. I was playing as Dara, he was playing as Byzantium. It was a very, very, very good game, and I had a lot of fun with it, and we, for years, tried to replicate the wonder and fun that we had with it, just to no avail, unfortunately. As for regular EU4, Australia, honestly, I love, just look at that flag. Just look at that flag. It's got purple on it. Top 3 cheeses? Red Leicester, Wensleydale, Brie. Favourite city building game? SimCity Creator, obviously. Are you listening to Haken? No, I'm recording an Embur video. Are you in any way, past or present, affiliated with the Leeds Tourism Board? Despite what my Twitter might suggest, no, I am not affiliated with Leeds City Council or Visit Leeds at all. But hey, if either of them, say if Visit Leeds wants to work with me for some promotional stuff, I'm always open to it. I'm always open to do some stuff for the council, I'm always down for collabs, but I think the best collab I could ever do would be with some official Leeds government institution. That would be really, really, really awesome. So hey, if you've got any connections with Leeds Museums and Galleries, or Visit Leeds, or anywhere, you know, anywhere associated with that, hey, give them a call and tell them Em sent you, because I'd love to work with any of them. Favourite reference to Leeds in any media/medium? I don't know, I wouldn't call it a reference per se, but probably the Leeds stamp from the 4th season of Modern Doctor Who. I mean, just listen to that thunk that's like, as it lands on the paper. It's so silly. What's your favourite thing unique to Leeds? Me, obviously. I'm my favourite thing that's unique to Leeds. Thank you for watching. I'd like to give a special thanks to the patrons, Thomas O'Mearan, Tetra Lindenbaum, Theo Linsholm, and Winged Harmony.